It's another wonderful morning. I'm in my backyard, looking at the mountains and the sky. The inspiration that come to me this morning is just around the world and the word critical thinking. Folks, we talk about IT, but I frequently remind people that T always come before I, you know? So we talk about IT, information technology. But what happens is that we develop a technology long before we figure out how to use it. Long before we figure out how to use it. And then the information part evolves later on. We now have this powerful tool called social media. We have this powerful tool called computers. Do you know that the average cell phone, not to mention the top end smartphones, have more capacity than the computer that we used in 1969 to put a man on the moon? That's what we are playing with. That's the capacity we have. So when you add a smartphone to things like a search engine, Google search engine, you add that also to YouTube, it's a powerful tool in the hands of people. But then now, when there's a lack of critical thinking, you understand you can have ignorance on steroids. I remember an incident when I was a child, my first bicycle, I assembled it. Couldn't afford to buy a bicycle, but I got parts from different friends and associates. I got a handlebar, I got a frame, I got wheels, I got the sprockets, I got pedals, and so on. And once I put the bicycle together, I took it out to test it. Now, I need to put on the brakes, huh? But I can't wait for the brakes. So I just put the bike, and I was on the road speeding. And then I came to a crossroad, and I really didn't have a capacity to stop. I had to jump off the bicycle. Huh? I never forget that incident. So that even if you have the capacity to go, you also need the capacity to stop, the capacity to steer. Hmm? So we have the capacity to research anything we want, to go anywhere we want, to access almost any information we want. But a lot of people don't have the capacity to dissect the information, to make sense of it. And that's where critical thinking comes in. The biggest byproduct, or should I say oh, the deficit created by critical thinking, or should I say the lack of critical thinking, is as we are still in the coronavirus pandemic. In countries that have significantly low vaccine take up, it is largely because of the impact of conspiracy theory, ignorance, the lack of critical thinking. And what makes it amazing now is that some countries are trying to follow other countries that have over 70 and 80% vaccination. It's incredible what happens. So, yes, we develop some amount of immunity, but in terms of what we have learned about vaccination for the last 100 years, we're seeing a situation now where even in Europe and North America, and definitely in other tropical countries, where we're seeing a resurgence of a lot of childhood diseases that we thought we had gotten rid of due to immunization. Because that same expansion of the absence of critical thinking around the coronavirus vaccinations is now spilling over into things like measles, mumps, rubella. No, but we don't need no vaccination. And the worst is yet to come. I'm watching the figures in Jamaica. If we notice that just before the Easter weekend, Jamaica basically removed all guardrails in terms of people coming in terms of mandates that necessitate the use of masks and other issues. And then we compound that now recently with the usual massive Mother's Day celebration. I was on the road and I saw every place I passed that had a Mother's Day brunch, or it was packed to the capacity. I'm watching two things, and you should too. You want to watch the rate, the positivity rate. The positivity rate has largely been in double digits for the last 20 days. And moving into the, the tens and the teens and now the 20s and so on. But also, we look at the hospitalization rates. And it's unfortunate. I do believe this is an unforced error. We didn't need for this to happen. But a lot of people are of the opinion that the coronavirus is over, that they're immune to the problems. Folks, listen, even if the symptoms are less, we don't know who will be the fatalities. And to quote Beanie Man, do you want to be that guy? Do you want to be that guy? I'm concerned about some of the people who are in the highly susceptible situation, older people over 60, diabetic, hypertensive, and you name it, the various issues. And then when the young people go out without any form of protection, become COVID positive and take it back home to them. When we have a vaccination rate in the 20s, we have a lot of things to be concerned about. So may I just suggest, folks, just edge your bet. Let me declare my hand. I follow the science. I am fully vaccinated. Also double boosted, because I live between Florida and Jamaica. So I take advantage of the opportunities available when I'm working in Florida. Now, vaccination is still available in Jamaica. The centers are still open, but to a large extent, a lot of people have just forgotten about these things. If you are, please encourage those close to you. May I also suggest that you need to protect yourself. The first law of nature is self-preservation. Whenever I leave my house, I have a mask. Whenever I enter any place that's crowded, I wear a mask. Once I'm in proximity of other individuals, one, I don't know their status, and two, I am in an environment where just about 23% of people are vaccinated. The other thing we have to be consciously aware of, this thing called long COVID. We still don't understand the causes and the consequences and the circumstance of long COVID. They are individuals who, long after they technically recover, have some very devastating symptoms. All right? So I'm suggesting critical thinking. Critically evaluate all the information. Your friend who is barely literate, I'm not sure when they qualified in the area of immunology and virology. The fact you have watched 2 YouTube videos don't make you an expert. Look at contradictory positions and sort it out from reliable sources. We are now moving towards an unforced error. It didn't have to be this way. May I suggest that you need to save yourself and those around you. Again, to quote Beanie Man, you don't want to be that guy. It's not too late. Critical thinking. Make it work for you. Coming to you from my backyard. The mountains are still behind me. Just giving you a peek at what I wake up to in the mornings. The mountains are beautiful behind me. We have so much to live for, to wake up for.